Everybody's okay. Did you one more thing before that? Lama, did you set up the Zoom AI for summarize? You know that option?
Yes, it's there on the Zoom.
You already in that? Okay, that's great.
Yes, there will be like this kind of notes and everything. Sorry for the session.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
live
It's good.
transcriptions as well.
Because it's when after it's sent it's we end the meeting, it will send to you in your mail. They're pretty similar to use. They're pretty easy to use. That's great.
Yes.
All right, guy.
And this is our first session that will be like posted in our Facebook group and on your group as well, Tony.
Yep.
Okay, so, and this is good for more reaching out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, hi everyone. It's been great to be can provide some kind of knowledge that I luckily be accumulate for a while, and that is something meet up the demand of our fellow members. If you remember the last time we had a meeting, we talk about the financial struggle of graduate student and others, and we need more training about this thing. Just 1 or 2 days after that, I saw something pretty interesting that benefit you guys. So I'm sharing. And of course, the host asking me to do a little bit section about this. So I say, yeah, why not? Because I think it's important. And why not helping people by sharing information and knowledge, which is the whole value of this group. So I put it on this slide, the slideshow. I do use this slideshow to educate or training for my team too in Vietnam, United States, about the nonprofit and personal development. You can find something back then, but our session today about the financial literacy. Uh, Let me get out to present to see it easier. Could be the last three slides. So here's the first thing we should think about it first. Let me move this thing out. So the program that I sent it to you, I just saw that pop up in my emails on Facebook. I don't remember, but it's called that the Intuit and Khan Academy who collaborate with each other to release the free online course about the financial literacy. And because it's free and it about finance, so that's why not I'm sharing for you guys. And been using this both platform for a while. And self-learning is what is really important thing. So we should bring up and we should develop to helping ourselves now today than just waiting for paying $2,000 or $3,000 for some financial course, which is might be not that much information you need. And I do go through the course before that I sharing with you guys today. And I think the course will provide enough information and terms with really basic knowledge that everybody can understand, even you not in the financial fields of expertise. Abdul working in finance too. Just 4 or 5 months ago, and the story is pretty simple. My wife keep asking me a lot of financial questions, like when we have kid, okay, next year, you know how much money for raise for the kid? United States, in 1 to 18, roughly $250,000 is the average number. Until they get 18, they go to college, and college is spend roughly around the same amount. So it could be, and hopefully the kid is wealthy and healthy. I mean, or you not spend like $500,000 for the one kid only in the United States. So where we got this money with our income now today, and you guys can do some simple math in your brain that you know that how much income you got to save to make that much of money to affordable to have a kid. And I say, well, we should invest in something, but which one? And how we saving, how we investing, and how we uh build up our wealth enough of time that we afford for our plan, financial plan. It's a huge question. I believe everybody have that. We just have different way to asking it and different way to manifest it and represent it. Like, yeah, we do all right. We work extra hour. We do something. We do other things, and hopefully we buy lottery. Hopefully we have enough that money. But the way I'm answer it, that is, well, why not just go to the financial industry and learn about that? That's make me to get a job in financial industry. Even I'm still in my final state of defense, my dissertation related to education, which is the whole two different fields. So that is a story. I have a question, and I got to find a way to answer it. And with my financial knowledge so far, I gotta say this course provide you enough well-rounded knowledge of finance. In the United States, I say United States because definitely there's a lot of different way of financial function in other country. But if your economy of your country functioning with credit and cash flow and monetary and financial policy that mimic the United States system, basically, the most of country, the world mimic the United States system of economic. You're going to see the same things and the same terms in that in your country too. So that's why I think it's benefit for everyone. You're going to go to this knowledge of basic of financial literacy. And of course, the course of Intuit and Khan Academy is provide for the P12 student. So it's just like regular student for 18, because that is the focus of Khan Academy. They provide for the P12 student, then the undergraduate and graduate student or professional. So a lot of term is not really explained really detail, but it's simple to understand. And I would show you some terms later. And if you just understand that basic terms, everything else is much easier for you. So that is basically the idea of how to work today. And this is a self-learning course. So you guys got to be really involved with that. A lot of videos I will show you guys. A lot of material reading. You guys got to read it for yourself. And it's 11 weeks. So I don't try to get the whole 11 week today. I just give you some general idea of the terms and how to understand catching the ideas of the financial literacy, so you can make your achieve your financial goal easier and planning for your financial future from today. If you don't make it like number, what we call in science is a quantitative approach of our financial wealth today, you will stressful every day from now until forever, because you're never ready for that. You never prepare for that. So that is the importance of knowing financial literacy. And of course, you can go deeper in the field of this financial world if you like to do, or you just furious guy like me, just do it. So that is the basic goal and purpose of today. Try to do it briefly because we have a lot of things lying up. I just want to give you something extra, a little bit. That is why I pick up this course from Intuit and Khan Academy. Firstly, if you're not in the United States, you might not know this, but if you work in the United States, get the income and got to do the tax every year, you might be know TurboTax. TurboTax is a really simple app that you can file your tax personally, much easy by answer serial question and animes and all kind of like gamification type of app. You can do it online, easily file your tax. You don't need to hire accountant or tax preparer for that, because the app will do it for you. So TurboTax, something really familiar with middle market. Credit Karma is something related to the financial term later about credit. Basically, you need credit in the United States to have the low interest loan to buy a car, to buy a house, just the most expensive things. And that good credit could be bring up to you the better credit card with a good benefit So you can use a credit card to buy the vacation and transfer the point, cash back, whatever you're going to be experiencing that. And when I say it, you're going to see the similar things in different country too, because that what the society now today. We all mimic what the United States doing in economy and finance, where they are the biggest financial institution in the world. So that credit thing is something will be generate to your country too in some way. QuickBook is something you use when you run the business, like small business, LLC, company, selling something. You need a QuickBook, like accounting to make sure the sale coming in and out. So in the end of the year, you file the tax. The government take your sale tax and all kind of income tax. They know that you do the right business and you pay the tax, so you save. But you do it, you mess up with that, well, the IRS or the tax department can looking for you and put you on the jail. Be careful of that. And MailChimp, the last one up here, is doing for the email marketing and some kind of the survey. That is pretty popular now today too, very easy to use and it's kind of affordable. And the great thing is all these four popular service and system for the middle market or middle class, you could call, which is us, is belong to Intuitive. So this Intuitive company is one of the biggest institution finance in the United States now today for middle market. Of course, we get in higher market like wealthy people, millionaire, billionaire, they hire their own different attorney who would charge you $500 or $700 per hour for doing all this thing. But with this app, you just take you $100 and you just can do it easily for everything. So that is important. And this company, one of the most prominent company of finance so far. That's why when they provide something educate about the finance, it always well-rounded. So you're going to see it in the course that it include not only about the loan, also about the budgeting, about the tax, about the insurance, about the retirement. That's something, if you just come into a regular financial like bank, they might cannot give you that well-rounded study about the things. That's what I like about this course. And of course, if you study more about Intuitive, you'll see that this company is really commitment for the social responsibility, which is do the business for the good of society, not for their own benefit of the stakeholder. We can go more about that later if we have time for the nonprofit, which is some pretty big advocacy on outside of science and finance. So that is the Intuitive, really good company for the middle class. Second, Khan Academy. Khan Academy is something really popular. We see it a lot. It's like edX and Coursera, but it's a little bit lower level because they try to make it simple and for the P12 student. And they provide majority a lot about some kind of P12 course like science, basic science, math, and chemistry and English and writing. They open a little bit extra on philosophy, simplify things. Not really heavily scientific, but more like casual, understandable for P12 student. And they are the nonprofit nonprofit organization, which is I love to be partnership with them. And they, of course, that's when we go to nonprofit, we always go to candidate. That is the third party who evaluate every nonprofit a different way. And if we're gonna see it in this course about charity giving. When you do the donate for the nonprofit, 501c3 in the United States, they have a different code in different country too. But basically, the United States nonprofit system is the biggest in the whole world now today. Because you see the Melinda Gates and Berkshire Hathaway of Warren Buffett, something they donate like 99% to the nonprofit, which is this type of nonprofit, 501c3 that are the court in the taxation court. So when you donate the money for those nonprofit, you have tax deductible or tax advantage to pay less tax. And that organization, nonprofit organization, they don't need to pay any tax. They just use that money for the good things. which is Khan Academy using for education for P12. So I highly recommend to partnership with nonprofit because that the specialized organization doing for good. And Intuit is really affordable solution for your finance, secure finance. Pretty much, yes. We'll go something related to the terms today because if you go to this course is basically just explain to you about the terms. There are some terms I introduce for you first, and then we go through about the course again. And if you guys have any question about that, just let me know. First, and of course, you can, if you have any more questions, just feel free to reach out to me throughout our Facebook group. First term, talk about financial literacy, basically how you handle money, budgets, how the way you manage your money. So manage is a mean that you got to be organized, the expense and the earning and your assets, which is what you have, and your liability, what you need to spend every day, every month, every year. So the budget with a table, you put everything in that with the separate columns. And in this course, they give you the 50, 30, 20 rules, which is pretty, I think it's decent for people to start, which is 50% of your income will serve for your need on the left side. 30% first serve for what you want, something extra of what you need, right? Something you need to survive and something you want to be happy, right? So this 30% of your income and the 20% left for the saving. What did you save for the future, for the retirement, for the investment, for the charity, for giving for good, or scholarship you want to provide or something, or you want to provide scholarship, paying college fund for your kid in the future. That is something you do up there. So that is the pretty basic rules. People can find different rules, but depend on you. This course, and I, as a finance guy, I think this rules is pretty close with the realistic rule. With the normal, I believe in normal American rules, it is 60, 30, 10, amount closer. Normally, they cannot save more than 10% their income, but 67% American live paycheck by paycheck. They don't even have the saving. So this rule is, if you can have some type of saving, 10%, 20%, you're pretty above the average. So that is something you should know. The third one is per unit pricing. Basically, it just break down all the material, all the food and product you buy into the unit, the smallest way to manage or evaluate the value of things. For example, they use a paper rolls in here, the paper a toilet roll or towel, something. They said 18 roll for $20 or 18 roll for $18. So one roll is $1. So one roll is a 1 unit, right? But in the paper roll, they can break it down into feet. So the length of the roll. So you can see like 2 or 3 cents per feet per square feet or something. So that is a different way of measurement in the United States product now today. If you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to Amazon, you'll see that when you buy something like tape, they're going to show you how many price per square foot. You can see like 5 cents, and you compare with other things. You see, oh well, this better deal, but that better deal is 7 cents per square foot. This means that actually it make you feel like a better deal, but actually it's more expensive, right? It's 40% expensive than the first deal, 5 cents per square foot. That basically is a rational way of thinking. That is math, right? That is quantitative evaluation of data. Then you based on it looked like a good deal. When you say it looked like a good deal, it means that you using the psychology decision into buying things, then really think about it quantitatively and objectively by per unit pricing. So that's why per unit pricing is something give you the rational way of evaluate the value of products. then just, oh, it look nice. Oh yeah, it's look beautiful design. And it's 5 times expensive than the normal thing you use. You kind of wasting money for something you don't really need. That's the idea for saving. And of course, you talk about planned expand and unplanned expand. What is something planned? This means you pay for food, grocery, you pay for traveling, you pay for car loan, you pay for rental, you pay for unity, something that's a plan. You know that in the end of the month, you got to pay it. That's a plan. You set out to pay for that. But something is unplanned, like you got to see the doctor, charge you $100 per visit. Something happened like accidents, right? Something happened like you got to send money back to your home country. Something happened, you got to go to a party that expand your networking. You don't know it yet. You don't have plan for that. So you get something set out for that unplanned expense. And what they call it here, the emergency fund. The fund is set on side for emergency. Normally, it's a breakdown from a 20% saving. Could be 10%. It's up to you. Depend on your lifestyle. If you don't, and just the only thing you get to think about it is never have the whole life in control. You always have the tendency have emergency things happen. So saving for that emergency, or you're gonna get trouble and fall into the debt. So that's why the debt thing is something they're talking about too. And they do have some kind of idea about pay yourself first. Well, it's something I believe it's just an ideology. Just a way of make you psychologically feel better when you have income coming in. It's just like the income coming in, you set aside that pay for yourself, for your hobbies, for your wants, the 30%, and you set aside for the paying bill. You want to work and enjoy the income every month. You don't want to just live for paying bills, right? You want to have something for enjoy for your life, for yourself, which is how you do it. First, you set aside $5, $10 for treat yourself better. Buy some good drink, go outside, hiking, buy the stuff, buy a book you love, $20 something. If you cannot afford it, well, how about you cut down of what you expend so you can find something for yourself and a hobby. That's the whole ideology of these terms. And of course, saving to investing, which is something popular in finance. What you do with the saving, you should invest it. But when you keep it in the bank, inflations, which is happening in all kind of credit type of business economy. In economy, we have 4 phase of economy. Expansion, which is economy get bigger, inflation is higher, so I have more money in the market. And they go to the peak side, which is the inflation, or we call the bubble of economy, go to the biggest side ever before it bursts. We call the peak, which is the price really high. A lot of people make a lot of money on that side, called the peak. And then the bubble bursts because we cannot just exaggerate about the size of the company or the size of the economy in general for so long. When it bursts out, which it happened in 2008, it's also happened in history a long time ago, 1929, 33. The whole world's economy problem. And when it bursts out, the business collapsed, the stock market collapsed, everybody lost their job because we don't have money anymore. We all run by the credit, and credit bursts out. We fall in, which is what we are now today. We call recession and depression. It's a depend on the quarter of the financial report. It is short term. I think it's 8 quarter, 4 quarter. It is short term. It's called recession. In the long term, it's called depression. So I think it's just falling down like this. So we expand going up to the peak, and we fall down. What we are here is a falling down. And when we keep falling down until we in the trough, we did the bottom of the game when we cannot desperate anymore. And what we are trying to practice to predict what trough, what is the bottom of the market industry? Well, the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States said that in 2025, and so next year or next 2 years, we reach out the bottom. What do we want to do when they reach out the bottom? Fed will release more money into the market to take us to the new horizon of circle, which is we expand again. So we go back, expand, and pick and burst again. So that is the circle of economy. We found that for decades ago, and we cannot do anything about that. The more we involve in that, the longer and unpredictable about the circle is there. Who know? We got a depression for 5 years. Who want to know it? It will take until 2030 to reach out to the bottom. We don't know it, but we only deal with it because that's how economy functioning circle, but we just cannot predict it. So that is what you need to do. Invest your money in something, generate the annual interest higher than the inflation, because the inflation is something always happen. Sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's 8%, sometimes it's 10%. When inflation 10% is mean that your money buying power is go lower. $20 now today is only buying with a power of $18. You cannot buy the same amount of food next year because inflation cut it down for the percentage. That's the whole point of inflation it is. That's why if you keep money in the saving account, which is pay for you 1% per year or 0.1% per year in the United States, of course, different countries pay different rate. But and inflation is 8%, you basically lost money every year. You gotta invest in something that at least equally with the inflations or even higher, like but higher interest or higher return coming in with a higher risk, which is something they do mention in this course, but you cannot go detail for that because you need to have really specified knowledge of finance and economy to really understand the relationship between risk and return and how you make sense of that. So credit score and credit card basically is a tools in the credit type economy, which is decide that well, have a good credit score, the interest you gotta pay is low. Do you have a bad credit? The interest you pay is high. The financial institution like bank or some credit union to give you money for spending, but you gotta pay the high interest. For example, you buy a house with now today the rate is 7% interest, and you go down payment, which means that you pay first 20% of the house, 80% you got a loan for the bank, and with 7% interest after 30-year loan, you basically pay double. You pay two house for one. So the best scenario is pay it off in the first day. But how do you pay it off? Well, you come back with the investment and saving, because it's not everybody have $100,000 cash or $200,000 or $300,000 cash in your bank, and make sure that money clean. Because if you pay too much cash spend too much cash at the same time, IRS is looking for you. So be careful with that. That's basically idea about the credit economic system and how the U.S. government functioning in the money world. Live with it. So now they do provide something related to APR, basically just the annual percentage of interest rate you gotta pay if you loan in the card, which is something when you pick up the credit card, you gotta think about it. And if you don't use it, yeah, you don't need to care about it. But when you gotta think about it, when you rethink about a loan type of contract. All right, here is something in the next couple of weeks in the course, you can see that they talk about personality money, which is a psychologically way of using money. How do you treat the money? You are a saver. You have 50% of that go to income. The income go to saving. You only want to save. You don't want to do anything in that. Just save in that. That much of money make you feel comfortable. Like, for example, my wife, she said that $20,000 in the bank account every time she opened the app every morning. Her saving number of money. If you low down to $15,000, she'll freak out. So that is the different mentality. So that's what is something you got to figure out your own number too, because we have different personality toward the money. Investor, for example, I'm an investor. I want this all my money be invest in a different function of investment. I don't want it in the bank. I don't care the mentality of my wife. I want it in investing, like 2%, 3%, 5%. Sometimes it go uh perform not really well, go minus 18% like last year. But this year coming back because I know about the economic circle, right? When it go down, it could bounce back higher. It's a long-term investment, always bumping up. But it's just about how you can keep it long-term enough. And the best predict so far is 30 years. If you cannot invest something in 30 years, well, just don't do it. Your mentality cannot handle it. Now, that's why the investment money, sometimes the ideologies say that the investment money is a money you're willing to lose. It's not the money you need to survive. It's a money extra after you have enough of what you need and a little bit of what you want. So the rest, when you do invest, get ready to lose it. Yeah, that's the ideal investor. How risky it is, but that's why you go to high return. Balancer, yeah, balance between the spend and save and invest. The best scenario, right? But they don't get a good return because they don't invest more. If you want to play it safe, you will not get it big. Basically, it's the rules of finance. And spender, someone have expand a lot. They want to spend more and more because I mean YOLO, you just live one life, right? I don't know. Tomorrow I have a car sitting. What I got to do with my money? What the meaning of saving and investing when you cannot spend it? Spend it now. Well, that's a different life ideology. I don't know. I'm not that type of person, so I have nothing to do a judgment about that. But there do people like that, and that they pick your life choice. That the good thing about United States is you have freedom of choice, right? You pick your life. I'm not judging it. Okay, so that is personality. Charity. So we talk about charity in here, and the benefit of charity is altruism. You think about other people, it's mean altruism. Empathy, you share with other people what kind of hard time by give them something as a form of charity. Religious belief, well, in your religious practice, you're tending to do donating for the church or whatever activity, or you got to donate to some type of action every day or every month. I don't know. It depends on different religions. Social norms. So what happened in social norm is that small social groups, like for example, you live in Catholic or some kind of Christian community side, everybody do donation, do donation. You should do it because that is how they're forming social norms. Or you don't need to do it, but people would in their social group they treat you a little bit different. A little bit about sociology approach of things, but get ready for it because they do forming a social norm of doing charity in the Western world because of religion, because of the tax advance. What we talk about this later. So be aware of that socialization process in charity practice. The fourth one is the tax benefit that I've told you already. Please don't believe that the charity thing is only for the rich. The the normal middle class people also can do that, and they have tax benefit too. And they do have to discount 50% of your income tax in the end of the year. So you should think about it. And reputation, of course, you do charity for reputation. Some people are looking for it, and some people just think it's an extra benefit. Okay, the next one, financial goal, which is important. What's your goal? Give me your number. Next 10 year, I want to be millionaire. So without 1 million, so 10 millions. Gotta give me specific, right? And you gotta give me the time. So I the time bound in the SMART goal. It's about, well, I want it 10 year. Okay, 10 million. You want to make every year break that every year 1 million, right? And break out to the week, break out to the day. And how do you gain on the investment things? How's it go? So that's why the more specific about your goal, Financially, I don't talk about sociology and psychology because that SMART goal is not work with that things. About financially, what is specific about that is about number and time. If you cannot specific about that, you'll never get it. And of course, you got to be realistic. You cannot become a pumping billionaire, make $100 billion in 2 years, right? That's depend on you. But make it sense, make it the way rationally. The other one is short term, mid term, and long term goal. This thing a little bit like qualitative, something like prediction. You don't need to get clear like SMART goal. If you can be great, but believe me, you gotta change it because short-term goal is a 1 to 3 years, mid-term goal is 3 to 5 years, and long-term goal is after 5 years, even until your retirement. Oh, and then when you're gone, what you want to do, right? You want a retirement, it's a long-term goal, right? But you 55 already, you have 10 more years, right? Or you want to retire at 60 and you 55, the retirement becomes your mid-term goal. That's what you do, depend on your age and your space of life or phase of life. What I mean, you need to have that. You need to have quantitative and qualitative goal. What the whole idea of this, it was talk about a science way of thinking. All right, we talk about good and bad debt, which is basically little bit about mentality. Debt is not always bad. Sometimes you need a good debt, which is credit debt a little bit. You just have a short-term debt for that to build up the credit score. So in the long time, you can have a better score and better benefit like transfer point or cash back, or you have some leverage, so you have more money than you actually have. It's called leverage by getting debt, so you can invest more and have higher return. For example, you have 100K and you need 150K, so you mean got extra $50,000 to invest in one unit that give you 20% return. So and you got and guarantee, and what you got to do is you go to somewhere and loan $50,000 for 18% interest per year, and you put what $150,000 in that unit investment, you get 20%. You pay off 80% of that thing. You still have 2% extra, right? Because some opportunity, you got to have certain amount of money to get into that certain opportunity of investment. That's why people still loan. Because people still get debt. And it's not always a bad thing. It's a way you find more opportunity and leverage your financial ability. But of course, this thing don't tell you, but I gotta tell you, if your mentality is cannot handle the debt, yeah, don't do it. Live a low life. Don't try to get too much risk that yourself mentality cannot tolerate. And it have talk about snowball and high rate. It's just a way you pay off your debt. Snowball is you pay off the small amount first, and then you got pay off left the big one later. High rate is just a strategy to pay off the debt with a high rate of interest first, and you pay off the other one later. Like student loan is something really popular in the United States. The interest is not too high, but credit debt is something really high. You should pay the credit debt first, and then go to student loan. It's about comparing because you don't have unlimited resort, right? You have limited amount of money to pay for the debt. Which one you want to pay first? That's your choice. To have choose strategy up there. Bankruptcy, something you got to do if you cannot affordable to pay off your loan. You have two chapters. One is for individual bankruptcy. One is for the company or enterprise bankruptcy. Then we talk about insurance. Insurance, basically, people think that is something kind of scam or something kind of pyramid scheme things. That's people pay money monthly, what we call a premium to buying some kind of package insurance you never use. Well, it's the only thing when we approach insurance do a part of finance. If you get in the financial world, you will see that insurance company is so big. even bigger than the bank. And even they buy the bank and they buy the other financial institution to become the huge financial empire. Because insurance is a part of the life. Why? Because everybody have the risk. You don't know that you're gonna die tomorrow, right? Nobody know it. So what you do with all the debt you have, you you can pick up, well, I don't care, I'm die already. But some people just care, well, all the burden financially I live it for my family. How I gotta do it? So insurance company come in and say, yeah, we're gonna handle it for you. You pay it, and you're good at this. And we pay it. You pay it for us annually. Okay, have Dixon in here. Please talk more about good debt in the US context. Culturally, I learned to live a life of zero debt. How does this work? Okay, let's talk about this a little bit because we about to get through it. So the good debt in the US context. Let's turn it on. The course, right? Everybody still follow up?
Yes, we are there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That Dixon?
Yes, that's me.
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
All right. Let me see what good debt. I think this one. Unit 5. We talk about good debt and the bad debt, right? Okay. Debt in course. Okay. So do you understand the term? And we'll discuss more about good debt and bad debt. And I think that firstly, I cannot give you too much of detail of advice because that the rules of that financial world. Unless we sign up some kind of financial advisory agreement, I cannot give you too much detail about this. I will just stick with what Khan Academy provide us today. So good debt is something give you a financial prospect and add the value to your life, which is involve borrow money to invest in assets and grow in a value over time, generate income and improve your finance. For example, did you try to invest before, Dixon?
No.
All right, you don't try to invest before. Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
because I don't have I think I'm not literate when it comes to investment, and that's why I'm quite curious at this stage in my life. Because I kind of learned that, I have been taking I've been watching different videos for the last months, and kind of understanding that your salary alone does not, if you want to create wealth, or if you want to take care of, if you want to be secure, financially secure, it's not enough to just, wait on your monthly salary. You need some form of investment, for the future, for yourself and for your children, that sort of thing. So I'm not very literate. I would love to invest, but I'm not very educated in that. So on that subject. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So firstly, I gotta say that how the credit economy system design. The money you have in your saving always be cut off by the inflation that I already explained. You always lost 2%. I mean, they said 2%, but CPI is say different. CPI basically is just regular the way you're spending money. That called CPI. They do that averagely the whole population, and that rate of CPI is not even right for different cases. For example, you can take a look at your annual, monthly expense and you compare it. That's why we need the budgets table. You see that 50, 30 to 20? You used to spend 50% of your income in 2019, but in 2020, you're about spending 60% of those. But your income will not change. That's a problem. See that? And the saving you have, you might say that the saving, of course, you gotta be cut off. Or the thing that you won, the 30% gotta be cut off, because the income is the same. How you can fill it in that 10% is short every year? You gotta cut off of that one. You cannot get too much of what you want, or you cannot save too much of money what you need. So that is the basically nature of this economy. That's also does that make sense to you? It means that what this money you save now could be lost gradually every year. Now that makes sense, right? So the idea of keep money in a saving bank basically is you're just wasting money because it lost every year. That's how the economy function, except you're in a different type of business economy. United States is really big on this credit system. That is, when you lost a lot of money. That is the thing. So only way you can do it, that not keep it on the saving account, that it invest in something which can keep you 5% return. And even that 5% return is not marked up with 8% inflation. You just lost like 3% after 1 year, because that's how they evaluate the APR. They only evaluate annually. So now you mark up, you just lost 3% of your saving. And you know that in the future, investment will always have a good performance in the future. And they have something, I think they do talk about this too. They call compound interest, that you invest hundreds of dollars into for example, a stock. And it's pay for you in the form of interest or dividend. Sorry to give a little bit more terms, but that is how the financial world go. It pay for you $2 every year, because you invest on them and they appreciate that, and they give back to you in the form of sharing profit. It's called dividend. Firstly, you got to pay the tax for that $2. That's how the American functions. Secondly, that $2, you have an option, spend it with a cup of coffee, not really good coffee with $2, or reinvest that $2 into that stock. So if you pick up the second option to reinvest it, now the money you put into that company at $102. So the investment portfolio increase. And next year 2024, they pay for you dividend. But this time they have a little bit better profit, and they pay for you like 10% of that portfolio. That portfolio now is 102. So you have a little bit increase of interest you earn every year if you keep reinvest into that portfolio. So that is the compound interest. So they keep investing and investing every year. So they even have the terms called the DCA, the dollar cost average, which is you invest every day $2 or $3 something, and at the end of the year, the average price you pay is lower than the market price, which is help you decrease your risk. So that is the term of investment. And of course, it pay for you the dividend, which is the share profit, but that thing is not sure, because what happened is the company don't make money. What happened, the company bankrupt, you get nothing. Stock becomes zero. But if they make profit, they can share it to you. That in the form of dividend. You pay a little bit tax for that, depend. But you still gain something with your investment. And the portfolio you invest as a form of stock, this form of ownership, that company is still there. You don't lose anything. You just get more. But if the company bankrupt, of course, you lost everything. That's why they need to be evaluation about the company when you want to invest in them. Besides stock, I think that in this course, it do talk about something else called bonds. Bond is a pretty bit secure than stock. It's a debt certificate. So basically, you give money to the company as a loan. So that company have to pay for you the loan, even they bankrupt. So that's why the bonds are a little bit safer than the stock. But the thing is, because it's too safe, so that's why they're gonna not release for you a lot of bonds in the market. And second, the interest or dividend you earn every year could be much lower than a stock. That's a thing. Than our other form of investment. So if you want to play it safe, you will not never get a good return. That is how you do it in the investment side of the game. And the higher risk you have, the higher bounce you can get. You can multiple like NVIDIA, you're gonna see that the stock of that tech company, it goes so big because they making their facility for the AI, how the AI system can get bigger if they don't have good facility and cheap for the NVIDIA. That's why they gain 200%. Yeah, if we know the future, we might buy it and double the price, but nobody know the future. That's why we just try to predict it. So that's a good thing, investment into the stock is the stock do gain the value due to the performance of the company. So you not only earn potentially the interest by dividend every year if the company does so well, you also earn the appreciation, which is the increased value of that stock over time. Yep. So that's why they have a lot of papers. I recommend you read papers more than watching some random video on YouTube, because the platform like YouTube, you cannot give people the details of the analytic. And of course, if you are a licensed financial profession, you cannot give anyone detailed analytic, or the SEC will pull back, will take back your license and ban you from the financial industry forever, because you cannot give the advice for everybody without a consent and agreement. That's why I don't really watch any kind of financial video online, because they will never give you the detailed advice with your budget and your risk tolerance and your horizon of investment time, or your risky type of, or your what I call money personality, which is something they talk in here. That's why investment, they do have the high risk, but they do have the high return, and that return is marked up under their inflation, what in the nature of losing value of your money. And of course, you bring up the higher return if you know how to invest it, or you find up some people who can help you to do that. And of course, I also study in the higher education system in the United States. I can tell you that in tuition of college gonna get higher and higher and higher, except they wiped out everything and turned the whole country become like Europe, like free education, like French or Germany, which is impossible with the financial mentality of American now today. So my prediction is the tuition for the college, if you want a kid, go to college, good college, and get higher and higher and higher. But your income will not raise on that high, predictably, except you can improve your skill into a really high level, which is great. But if you are average middle class, you will never make it up. And you know the result, they fall into student debt, and that debt go with them forever. So that's why you want to save something for the kid, you want to save something for all their future plan, travel internationally, buy a house, buy something fancy, travel, road trip, something. You got to do something with your money, then the saving. So that basically the idea of that things. And the good debt is, of course, when you want to invest, it's some threshold. So you got to loan the money or invest in that. That's a good debt. But if that debt don't lead into the better return, don't get into that debt. Don't loan money for just spending for new iPhone every years, because I don't think that bring up enough higher return for you. Or spending the trading your car, you get a new fancy car every time they release a new car every years. Well, the car expand and liability is huge, and it not really bring up for you higher value than you need. So that's a bad debt than a good debt. So the good and bad decision is about how return of the debt it is, minus the interest you got to pay for the debt. For every kind of debt, you got to pay the interest. If you have a higher return, then the interest you got to pay, you might think about it, do it. But one thing I recommend that it not include in this course, but I do know it, that is the mentality, which is related to the risk tolerance. If you cannot tolerate the risk and the money losing behavior, which is happen every day in the market, yeah, don't try to invest. You cannot get it. You just burn out yourself, and you even mess up what you study in the school and your profession way, because you have a bad day, because this money, the market will go off, and market is on and off every day. So that basically the idea. I should make it clear for you. If you're not ready to lose money, don't try to invest. Good with that, Dixon? That Dixon still?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the explanation.
All right, it's great. Let me see what else we gotta go through. This thing is something related to retirement. Retirement. So there's something, I don't know, they explain clearly in that. It's the Rule 72. So Rule 72, basically that it's just happened in the United States. Do you have something like employer sponsor retirement plan? I believe that university have that too. When you go to become professor, you're gonna have that. Or you work in the professional world like worker, you're gonna have that too. It can be 401k, it's gonna be IRA, and it could be a different form in public institution. It called 403 403C3. So this is a different code of that. You can learn it when you start that work. Basically, they could cut off your income monthly into some kind of the plan, that a retirement plan. And then what they do with that retirement plan, they invest that retirement plan. They cannot give that retirement plan into the bank, because they know that the money will lost by the nature of the market. So what they do it, they invest in some kind of, depend on what package you pick up, but normally it's like moderate type of package. And the average return could be rating by a third party. We call it Morningstar. You can track on that, but of course you should have the premium account to tracking on the evaluation of the financial. They invest some kind of mutual fund and some kind of the ETF, some kind of the index fund. I don't want to go too deep on that, but this thing is too much of financial knowledge than this literacy knowledge. So basically, the government put your retirement money into some form of investment to make sure when you retire, you have the money that you need for retire. So the Rule 72 is a way you evaluate how much money you're going to gain, depend on how much money you're going to put in today within the horizon of time. The rule is simple. It takes 72 divide to the percentage of returns average every year of the type of investment you have. For example, in the United States, they're more the big system and kind of stable. It's called S&P 500. Is that S&P 500 is basically the performance of 500 Fortune 500 company, the best 500 company in the United States, and how the stock perform an annual return or annual increased value of that stock. And they do it for 30 years return, averagely at 9%. So if you invest in the S&P 500 with annual 9% return, so you take 72 divided to 9, it equal 8, right? So that what that number mean, 8 mean? It mean that every 8 years, the amount of money you put it in will be double. Okay, something is a little bit complicated, but it's pretty simple when we write it down. Okay. I think this thing is the most important thing about time horizon and investment. For example, you put $100 per month into S&P. Oh, why it's go down like this? Okay, S&P 500, which is have 9% return, APR, right? So with this rule 72, first take 72 divide to 9. Equal 8. So we normally take 9. Sometimes it's go 10, but 9 is not like save money. You cannot give people the too much positive number. So 8, what 8 mean is made every 8 year. Your money or your fund is double. Now you have the number now. $100 per month. It mean what that is mean 1.2K, right? You multiple the 100 with 12 months, right? It's per year. And it multiple with 8 year because you gotta put it enough that money every year until the 8 years. It went into 9.6K. So until the 8th year of your investment with $100 per month, it become 9.6K. That is the amount of money you invest. So in this 8th year, but it is the money you put it in, we call principal. But how about the return, 9%? Now the return we calculate by double, because that's just the rule of 72. So this year, for example, we invest in 2000, right, 24. So this is the number principal, which is money you put it in. It not include the return yet. 8 year, so 20, 32. So this is a year. But now the totals you have in that investment portfolio could be the double of the principal, which is equal is 19.2K. So that is, right, this thing a principal. So that is the thing of investment. That's a amazing thing of investment. If you not invest after 8 years, what you have is 9.6, right? $9,600 in the saving account, which is the real buying power. It's much lower because you cut off the inflation every year. But if you invest into S&P 500, with 9% average return. After 8 years, it becomes $19.2 thousand, which is, of course, the buying power is a little bit lower because inflation is something you cannot get over it. But it's still better than you keep it on the saving account. That's the amazing thing of investment and Rule 72. And the good thing is the next 8 years, which is 2040, this number double one more time, but this time is double of 19.2, which is 38.4. Okay, right? That is how you calculate it. Every 8 years is double. And the thing is, if you still keep it in a saving account, what you have now, you just have double that, right? You don't have how much you have if you just keep it in a saving account. If you just put $100 in a saving account per month, never close that number. So this is about the time. If you have 16 years, and of course this 9% is equal of 30-year performance. That's why I tell you, if you cannot invest in 30 years, the return is not really guaranteed be that high. The number could be lower or might be higher because you invest right on the peak of the market. But annually, 30 years, that is a good thing about number. And the good thing is the next 8 year, 2048, this thing double into 76.8. And one more double is 150. See that the earlier you invest, the higher return you're gonna get, because that's how they do for the mutual fund. They keep investing the principal. They keep investing in your interest into market. So after 30, that's why when last time I'm running Rule 72 for 18 years old kid, if they invest $500 per month into an investment account with average 9% return. When they retire, which is 65, they make $3.8 million. That is the investment rules. Just poor math, nothing emotional, nothing try to timing the market. That is how the 72 rules working with you guys. So when you invest, that's why this Khan Academy is teaching 72, Rule 72 is so important with the P12 student because they have a lot of time. When you're 40 years old, you don't have that much of time to get into the double, get into the return because the market up and down. You might be getting the down time, you lost half of your portfolio. But the next 2 years, when you're pumping up, you gain it because the investment is a long-term game. The short-term game now is about on the day trader and Wall Street people and BlackRock people. They have the machine algorithm do it already. You cannot beat them with that day trading stuff. The only thing you can get it with non-financial heavily knowledge, it invests something for long term with some slack out money that you're saving. That's how you build up the $1 million. So everybody knows this rule, but you cannot do it when you're 18 years old because you have a lot of things to spend, a lot of things you want to do. You want to be a spender. You want to become the one who explore the world or donate everything to charity or spend everything for a new phone, a new car. You don't want to do something really simple, but make you become the millionaire per se by the time you retire. And you don't need to effort anything. Put it in. The government handle it. That's it. Except only risk is the government fall. like the United States collapse, which is something, well, we cannot do, but the chain is getting that pretty low. So that is, and that rule is, that's why it work with the United States, but it doesn't work with different countries because, of course, other country they have a lower return because the market is not that dynamic. And second, the other market system, they don't have that type of safety. Well, that's the only benefit when you live in the United States. You can become millionaires. Just invest early. That's the only thing that I think is important about this rule. And 18 years old kids should know. And they even now can invest younger with different plans. But of course, I cannot discuss about this in this course. Okay, that is basically something, so how American people set up a retirement plan besides Social Security, which is something the government take it from your income. But in the end of the with your retirement, 65 or 67, depend on the policy, you can receive it. But normally just made up like 40, 50% of your income you need. How do you get back? How do you get other 50%? Well, you get in retirement plan. And even that retirement plan is not enough because when you get older, you spend more about healthcare. You spend more about I don't know, hobbies, because now you don't work full time. You have a lot of time. What you do with your life? Well, I gotta spend it. You gotta eat it, right? You gotta go out dining. You gotta go out to travel, and you don't work. Where that money come from? That's what something you gotta prepare. All right, Dixon asking one more question. Can you live and work outside the US and still partake this program? Well, I'm pretty sure that this type of retirement and investment program, if you're not a US citizen or resident, you got to go through some kind of the company like investment or financial institution. You can go in there, buy some package of that, and they make sure your money is clean because they don't want to be money laundry, right? So you go buy some kind of package, investment package. United States financial system is pretty open for international investor. They come in there, you invest, you pay the tax, and you get it back. But of course, you have a lot of restriction than the United States citizen or resident. But yeah, that is only the thing we can know for now. And I'm not recommend you do the same thing in Egypt or Vietnam because I don't think the market in those countries is safe enough for you to play these rules. But it's some general idea about investment and about retirement, even insurance. Insurance is something really amazing if you really know how to play that game. You pay, yeah, you pay for example, you buy $1 million insurance, but the total amount of money you pay for it until you reach out 100 years old, roughly about 70% of that million, so like 700K. And when you're 100 years old, they give you 1 million. So not bad for that thing too. But yeah, it's depend on people like health background, and when you smoke, you're a smoker, you buy it with higher premium. You might not gotta pay a little bit higher. And that paying money is just going for your monthly expand. If you don't have that money for that, yeah, you cannot get it. So that basically about full packaging of financial system in the United States. And I gotta say that different country is mimic of this system, but they not stable like United States. But the United States, I don't want to go too deep in politics, but petrodollars is something keep the US financial power still dominant in this planet. That's why financial game, they are on the top. And they offer you a lot of option for this. And this, of course, this tax form is is something, if you're not living in the United States, you don't really need to care about that. But you just know some idea about the tax and put it on your financial portfolio. All right, so that's pretty much it of this course. Of course, they some video from Pham. This is the founder of the Khan Academy. And this course have multiple video, which is you guys just watch it. I don't have time to watch that thing, but they do have a lot of material reading things. Talk about a little bit of scam, talk about a little education and career, which looks okay with me. It's not really persuasive with me. Of course, you cannot give too much detail about general course, but yeah, they have students some idea. They have some teacher resort and additional resort, which is showing the teacher how to break down this course to easier way, like what we do up here. Even I think that I try to make it a little bit complicated than it should be. But sorry, when you get deep into this field and explain it about this thing, you got to explain the full picture of that. You just cannot simplify the complicated issue and let people neglect about the risk and mentality you're gonna tolerate. That's why this kind of simple knowledge, but people cannot handle it, and people falling on a scam and fall all the time. Yep. So I think it pretty much is for this course. Do you have any question, any ideas, anything to discuss? We open the floor for that.
I think Dexon asked him questions. Dexon, do you have any more questions in this topic? Noha, do you have any questions as well?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Lamia.
So I think, Tony, that we need to get to a closure. Okay. If you wanna to say words before ending our Café Without Borders session for today until we meet the coming month, go ahead and say them.
All right, of course. Let me stop sharing. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I don't know how long it takes, but I gotta say it's 11 week, of course. I try to make it in one time, so that's why it's a little bit complicated. But I just give you some idea, and of course this video is recorded, so you can rewatch it. And of course, I'm available and active in Facebook and in the group. Have any problem? You know where you should ask. All right.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm always open for helping you guys if as much as I can, and have you navigate easier for that Khan Academy course, because that is a self-learning course. You're supposed to learn it by yourself, but I just give you extra a little bit mentoring for that if you need. That's what I say, and good luck with that. I think it's valuable course. It provides you enough idea about general of financial worlds that hopefully can get your, financial struggle in your life much easier or in control. I'm not sure it's gonna be better, but you gotta try it, right? Then just, mumbling about that and never do anything about that.
Yeah,
And it's free.
Thank you so much, Tony, for that. And we will upload it on our channels, okay, to be accessed by everyone. It's open access for everyone. And we have like a chatting rooms where anyone can just reach out to you asking if they wanna to have this kind of financial consultation. So you can support and tell them what they can do. So our session for today, our meeting for today comes to the end, and wishing you all the best for your coming endeavors with your future plans. And until meeting the coming month with a new topic that we're going to brainstorm all together as members of the cafe, putting out the outline of the coming series that we have been thinking about brainstorming to come up with an idea related to us as students, graduate students in general. How can we start our education if anyone wanted to start his education, whether online or abroad? What are the steps that are needed to be taken, and how can we publish papers, and how can we co-author together? How can many things that we're going to brainstorm for. Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to meeting you the coming month.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lamia, and thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Dexon, for attending.
Thank you, Guy. Want to see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Be active on their groups. We discuss the
Yeah,
big things.
Please, please be active. Come up with ideas and brainstorm together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye. Bye.